Hello, welcome to another impactful episode of Eco Energy, the show that powers your understanding of energy, environment, and economy in Nigeria. I'm Joycelyn Ella Keche Ada, and it's great to have you with us. Now, we bring you a double breaking news special, a powerful combination of local and global action that signals hope for Nigeria's future. First, the Port Harcourt Refinery, Nigeria's iconic oil giant, has finally roared back to life after years of stagnation. What does this mean for our economy, our fuel supply, and the ordinary Nigerian?
Production and processing of crude requires enormous manpower. All right. Now, from what we gathered, between the period of revamping of the Port Harcourt Refinery to now, about 16 million man-hour has been put in. Now, that is representative of people. Okay? Now, bear in mind that now that it's coming on stream, production and processing is going to continue. And so when you talk about 16 million man-hour that have been put into the revamping of the petroleum refinery, that should be in the neighborhood about 1,000 to 1,500 manpower.
We'll analyze this further with the experts. But that's not all. In another major development, straight from the just concluded COP29 conference, Nigeria has reaffirmed its commitment to cleaner and greener future. Two stories, one big conversation: energy rebirth and environmental refocus. This is the news Nigerians need to know. But here's the challenge. Can we balance our oil-driven economy with the world's demand for environmental sustainability? Let's begin with the headlines making waves across Nigeria and the world. After years of delays and breakdowns, the Port Harcourt Refinery is back, processing 60,000 barrels of crude oil daily in its first phase. This is big news for our economy. It means fewer fuel imports, potential price relief, and thousands of jobs. But wait, there's another side to the story, and we must address it. Not everyone is celebrating this refinery's return. Critics are already raising questions and stirring controversy.
Unless and until NNPCL answers this question, we will not be bamboozled into commending or rush into commending NNPC on Port Harcourt Refinery.
After we are through with the MTEP, we rediscuss it in closed session in case we have to set up ad hoc committee to immediately move to Port Harcourt.
What did the Senate committee discover during their visit to the Port Harcourt Refinery?
I was part of the team that went to Port Harcourt to verify the veracity of otherwise as to whether the NNPC have started production. And I can gladly report, sir, it is commendable.
Why are we being fed with sensationalism about the Port Harcourt Refinery? Some have gone further to say it has stopped operations completely. NNPC Limited Chief Corporate Communication Officer Olufemi Shoneye extended invitations to doubters to tour the facility and verify its status firsthand. One of the first to do so, Channels TV journalist Charles Oporum. And here is what he had to say on his X handle.
Good afternoon. This is at the Port Harcourt terminal. Today is Saturday, 21st of December 2024. And as you can see, loading activities going on. And we still have some other trucks at the back and others waiting to load. Thank you very much as I report from the Port Harcourt terminal.
And Senior Oil Workers Association were not left out, as their president also verified the operations of the refinery.
We can confirm authoritatively that the Port Harcourt refinery is actually working.
Join us on social media, #EcoEnergyNG. Your views matter. Let's hear them. Now let's talk about the big news on the home front. Our very own Port Harcourt refinery is alive again. Phase 1 production is already on the way, and Nigeria are hopeful this marks the end of endless fuel queues and rising pump prices. 60,000 barrels daily, Phase 1 operations, billions saved in foreign exchange, job creation for thousands of Nigerians. But here's the thing, we've seen this story before. Will the refinery finally deliver sustainability? Can Nigeria use this momentum to achieve energy security? To unpack this, we're joined by oil and gas expert, Mr. Osai Ilome. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Now, what immediate benefits should Nigerians expect this refinery's reopening?
This question is something that is on the minds of every Nigerian. How is the Port Harcourt refinery going to make any difference? It has a positive effect on the economy. Now, first, recall that we import before the coming on stream of Dangote refinery, we import all the petroleum needs of Nigeria from outside the shores of the country. Put in mind that the current inflation that we are having is triggered by this high energy cost, high pump price, because when you have an increase in pump price, it kind of rubs off. The ripple effect is impacted on every segment of the economy. The coming on stream of the petroleum refinery, in addition to what we currently have from the Dangote refinery, we limit our import pressures on petrol, and which will also limit the pressures on forex, on the naira. And so you have a situation where inflation will begin to have a reduction. Currently, inflation is about 34%. Headline inflation is about 34%. Food inflation is over 40%. And so with the coming on stream of the petroleum refinery, we have the opportunity right now to increase the number of locally refined products that we consume in the country. And like I said, that will also provide opportunity for job creation.
2, how does this impact fuel prices and economy in the short and long term?
I looked at, other countries that have been able to take advantage of, emerging economies that have been able to take advantage of their natural resources like petroleum products to be able to grow. And one of such countries that came to mind is Malaysia. All right. Now, if you look at Malaysia, Petronas, which is like our NNPC, had to divest. They engage in a lot of divestment, all right, by introducing various arms of the company, various arms of the business. Even as of today, Petronas is operational in about 50 countries. And so for me, what the government can do, and of course, I think that I've started with the previous administration whereby the NNPC was liberalized as a limited liability company. And so that already sets the standard, the framework for NNPC to be able to begin to consider other form of investment. All right. It's not enough to say we want investors to invest in NNPC or in our petrol and gas sector. The ones that you are currently, the revenues are currently generating, the profits you are currently generating from your operations, what are you doing with them? All right. So they should begin to think about investing in other sectors. All right. Across the board, from the UAE to Malaysia that I've just mentioned to Saudi Arabia, you see a deliberate approach of investing in other sectors of the economy, whether it is sustainable energy, whether it's technology, whether it's in infrastructure. So the government should be able to empower NNPC as the highest shareholders of the NNPC Limited, to see that the board have a policy framework that enables them to invest in other sectors. I think that is a beginning step for them to be able to maintain, because when they invest in other sectors, positive attracts positive. All right, you will begin to also see other investors that would like to take investment in NNPC, in what they are doing. And so it's a win-win thing. All right, when you invest, others invest in you. So NNPC should begin to think about investing in other sectors, and by doing so, they will attract more investment into our oil and gas sector.
Okay. What can be done to ensure this refinery stays operational this time?
For me, it's not even about the global oil market, but for me, let us bring it down to the continent, the African continent. All right. By now, yes, we can begin to see other African countries that are having crude and that are beginning to, go into the refining business, crude oil exploration and refining. And so I should begin to think that, number one, the coming on stream of the Port Harcourt Refinery gives NNPC that ability, all right, to become a major player in the supply of petroleum products within the African continent, all right? And so when they start with that, and when they increase their capacity to bring on stream other refineries, it will also increase their ability to supply more countries within the African countries. Again, if you look at the crisis, all right, between Russia and Ukraine, that alone affords Nigeria the opportunity to move in quickly into the energy market in the global space.
Thank you, Mr. Ilome. The Port Harcourt Refinery is a symbol of hope. Let's make sure it stays that way. From Baku, Azerbaijan to world stage, Nigerians have reaffirmed its commitment at the just concluded COP29 conference to achieve a cleaner environment and reduce carbon emissions. Here's what Nigerians pledged: cutting emissions to align with global climate goals, promoting renewable energy investment, phasing out harmful energy practices while balancing economic growth. With oil still driving our economy, how do we achieve this delicate balance? That's the special report we'll be having later in the program. Nigeria made headlines at the COP29 conference with bold commitments to a greener, cleaner future. But here's the million-dollar question. How do we achieve sustainability when oil still fuels our economy? Reducing greenhouse gas emissions, boosting investment in renewable energy, solar, wind, and hydro, transitioning to clean energy while maintaining economic growth. Balancing environmental responsibility with economic survival is Nigeria's biggest challenge, but it's not impossible. Here is the report. Nigeria, Africa's largest oil producer, finds itself at a crossroad as it seeks to honor commitments made at COP29 to transition to greener energy while still heavily reliant on petroleum for economic stability. The country's oil sector contributes around 7% to its GDP, but accounts for over 90% of its export revenues. This paradox presents an opportunity to diversify the economy and energy sector, but also poses significant challenges as Nigeria attempts to balance environmental goals with economic realities. One major advantage of transitioning to greener energy is the potential for long-term economic diversification. Nigeria's vast renewable energy resources, including abundant solar, wind and hydro potential, offer avenues to reduce dependence on oil revenues. By developing these resources, Nigeria can address its chronic energy access issues, especially in rural areas, and support economic growth in non-oil sectors. The government's recent initiatives, such as the National Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Policy, signals a commitment to tapping into these opportunities. Furthermore, international financial and technical support for green initiatives has increased, providing Nigeria with a pathway to access sustainable development funds. However, the challenges of achieving a greener future are equally daunting. All revenues remain critical to funding government operations and public services, making a rapid shift to renewables politically and economically risky. Additionally, Nigeria's energy infrastructure is underdeveloped, with inconsistent electricity supply and inadequate investment in renewables. The transition requires substantial capital, which may strain the nation's finances without a robust framework for public-private partnerships. Socially, the oil sector provides significant employment, and a hasty move away from it could destabilize livelihoods in oil-dependent regions, risking social unrest. The environmental stakes are high, as Nigeria is among the countries most vulnerable to climate change, with rising sea levels threatening coastal cities like Lagos and erratic weather patterns affecting agriculture. By implementing green policies, Nigeria could significantly reduce greenhouse gas emissions and align with global climate targets. However, some argue that the nation's contribution to global emissions is relatively minor, and thus, the onus of reducing emissions should fall more on industrialized nations. This perspective complicates the national narrative around prioritizing environmental goals over immediate economic benefits. In conclusion, Nigeria's path to a greener future will require a balanced approach that leverages international support, strengthens domestic policies, and integrates renewable energy into its economy without alienating all dependent sectors. Achieving this balance is not just a moral imperative tied to global commitments, but also a strategic move to safeguard the nation's long-term economic and environmental sustainability. Only with a comprehensive planning and stakeholder collaboration can Nigeria turn the COP29 promises into tangible, lasting progress. Nigerians, this isn't just a government responsibility, it's our responsibility. What's your take? Drop your comments using #EchoEnergyNG. Powerful voices from across the country. Keep sharing. We'll feature more of your thoughts in our next episode. We've seen two big steps towards Nigeria's brighter future. One, the Port Harcourt Refinery's reopening, a potential lifeline for our economy. And two, Nigeria's COP29 commitment, a promise to protect our planet and our people. Nigeria can lead the way, balancing energy production and environmental responsibility. But it's all up to all of us, our leaders, businesses, and citizens, to turn these promises into action. Next edition, we will discuss renewable energy investment and the future of solar power in Nigeria. Don't miss it. I'm Joycelyn Ella Keche Ada, and this is Echo Energy, where Nigeria's future takes center stage. Goodbye and stay energized.